Hey everyone, Anneke Godlewski here, and of course, it is time for another week of Maximum Storytelling. It is mid-February, and if you are anything like me, we got bombarded with snow. I'm here live in Toledo, Ohio, and for those of you tuning in the Maximum Layer Guild, I know all of you guys are from all different parts of the country, but even all of our friends in Texas are getting bombarded with weather that they're not used to. So hope everyone's staying warm out there. And all of the snow and the school closing that happened in our area yesterday, and that could be happening in other areas as well, got me thinking about teachers and how much they have helped us all, parents and students, throughout this entire pandemic. A lot of the teachers that, especially in some of the younger grades, kindergarten, first, second grade, when they went to school to become teachers, they absolutely did not have any lessons on how to um, how to teach in a virtual world, right? They learned things like hands-on interaction with little ones and teaching them how to physically color and, you know, use chalkboards and be there and be present with their students. They did not have to endure any final exams in college about how to use Zoom or how to use Google Classroom or anything like that. So it's been a huge learning curve for them, as well as for all of us parents at home who are trying desperately to keep our kids educated. But one of the, part of that is, part of recognizing all of the things that teachers have done to kind of adapt and try to still give our kids the best school experience and the best education possible is, um, thinking about the steps that they did take to get us there and to get the students there. Obviously, it's still a work in progress. I mean, this pandemic is, so unpredictable. But we have to give a lot of credit to the teachers who are learning things from scratch and who are doing the best to communicate all of the different changes. And honestly, they're really at the mercy of principals and superintendents and school boards, and they don't have a lot of control over the things that they get to do. So being able to be so flexible with all of the different lesson plans, especially in this new virtual landscape, has been awesome. Which leads me to an idea that I had for different video topics is telling that teacher's story. So we hear so many times about all of the struggles that the parents are going through and all the struggles that the teachers are going through. And, of course, we hear a few struggles about the struggles that the students are going through and the struggles that the parents are going through. And sometimes we hear about the struggles that teachers are going through, but we also never hear the teachers complain, right? Because, they don't want to, they just want to do their jobs. But taking the time to interview your child's teacher or any of the local teachers in your area not only shows them that they are appreciated, but it also gives them just a little bit of a way to be heard, right? Not necessarily vent, but give the general public an idea of just how hard it is to be a teacher in today's world. So I had a few suggestions on how to go about this, right? So the first thing that you can do is figure out what teacher it is you want to interview. It can be a live interview through Zoom. It can be a pre-recorded interview, through Zoom. Again, you're probably not going to get any classroom time with the teachers. You're not going to be able to sit down across the desk like you normally would. But Zoom or Google Hangouts or any of these video chats are probably the best way to do it. But number one is figuring out which teacher you would like to interview. A good place to start is with your own child's teacher. If your children are out of school, then it's, just go back to the school that they did attend and see if there are any favorite teachers or any teachers that have gone above and beyond. If you're not really sure who to choose, you could talk to the principals, you could talk to any of the administration. You could look on that on that school's Facebook or Instagram page and see who's, active and who's doing special things. Or maybe there's a teacher that's really active in their local communities that are doing, who are doing things outside of their community, or outside of their schools. You can choose based on that. But really, at the end of the day, you just want to find maybe one, two, or four or five teachers who are willing to just talk to you. And it can be, again, very informal, like most of the other video suggestions that we give on maximum storytelling. It's all about being real and being authentic and being genuine. All of us are, going through so many things right now. So keeping it to just lighthearted conversation, not drilling them for answers to questions that have anything to do with academics and lesson plans and all of the things that they struggle through day to day and even after 5 and on the weekends, because let's face it, none of the teachers stop working at 3 o'clock. We all know that. So, I mean, starting with just a basic conversation right when you get on the Zoom call is probably the easiest way to go. Just talk to them a little bit about how this year has been going, and what challenges they faced, and also how they've overcome those challenges, is kind of a good icebreaker. But then sort of move into why they decided to become a teacher in the first place and what their favorite thing is about being an educator. Perhaps you can ask them about any funny stories that they have over their years as being in the any funny stories they have um, about being in the classroom over the years. Ask them who their favorite principal has been, or ask them, I mean, you can't really ask them who their favorite student is unless you ask them maybe about a past student. That could be possible, but you don't want to really show favorites. But ask them if they could change, anything about the way things are, what would they change? Or ask them who their favorite teacher was when they were in high school or elementary school or college. Actually, it's probably even a better idea to ask them about all three. Who were their favorite educators and what lessons have they taken from their own experiences as being a student. So after you ask the basic questions, right, and the conversational tones, ask them what the general public or people in your office or you as an individual and you as an attorney can do to help them. You know, anything from spreading the word about a good cause that they might have going on to drawing up drumming up any donations for construction paper or pencils or pens or whatever it might be that they need in their classroom. Some teachers might even just give you the simple recommendation or the simple ask of, hey, just have a little bit of patience with us. Or, here are 3 things that every parent can ask their kid before they go to bed. Or how, here are 2 tips on how parents can help prepare their child. Or, any piece of advice that the teacher has. Make sure that at the end of the interview, you are asking them for a way that you can help them. And if that teacher is anything like a lot of teachers, at least in my world, they're going to be very humble and they're going to say, "Oh no, I don't need anything. I don't need anything." But in a kind way, press them. Ask them truly how we can help the education process as a whole. And I think you'll be able to come up with some really good pieces of advice and some really good recommendations that you can then share with all of the audiences that you have built on your different social media platforms and in your newsletter and your e-newsletter, all of those readers too. Take that advice and take all of the things that teacher said and share that with all of your audiences. You can then move forward and transcribe the interview that you had with the teacher as a cool Q&A that you can put into print. You can put it on your website. Obviously, take that video and do all the wonderful things that you do with it by putting it on YouTube and putting it on all the different social media channels. But then also make sure to share that video with that student or that teacher's administration. You don't have to just limit it to that teacher's school. You can share it with the entire district if you want. I mean, if you want to take it even a step further, you can even share it with the state Department of Education. They always love to hear about things like this. They especially love to hear about any of the teachers out there doing a great job. So one of the easiest ways to share that video would be to put it onto YouTube and then embed it. When you go to, you can get an embed code, your YouTube embed code by clicking share underneath the video that you've uploaded to YouTube, and then underneath share, it gives you a few different options. Embed code is one of them. You take that embed code, take that embed code, and then you copy it and then paste it onto whatever web page on your website you would like to have that video show up on. Then you take the URL from that web page, and that's what you share around. So instead of sending, the teacher's principal, instead of sending her a link to, the YouTube video, you're going to send her a link to your web page that highlights that video that you've embedded. So do that with, all of the different people in the teachers world, especially if there are any contests or award oh my gosh, like award not ceremonies, but any different awards that teacher might be up for. Use that video to nominate the teacher. A lot of times there are best educator awards or special recognitions that teachers can earn. So then you have, such a great piece of content to add to any applications that you have. If you don't want to nominate that teacher for any of these awards, you can always just send that link to whoever you think might be willing to nominate that person and, let them use it. So again, showing these teachers the appreciation is obviously, it makes them feel good and it makes you feel good, but it also kind of gives everyone else in the world and everyone else in the school district and all the other parents a glimpse at what they are trying to do to make all of our lives so much more easy. It's a struggle for them, just like it's a struggle for us. And hearing their stories and hearing all of the different things that they are trying to do to make sure that our kiddos make it and our kiddos are learning as much as they can is going to make a difference. So if you have any suggestions on how to celebrate your teachers or celebrate any of their stories, please feel free to share them with us. And I'll make sure to post a link to some suggested questions that you can ask teachers on these interview videos that I really encourage all of you to create. Teacher Appreciation Week is not until, I think it's the first week of May this year. So we have a little bit of time, but I challenge all of you guys to do as many teacher appreciation videos as you can between now and then, so that when Teacher Appreciation Week finally rolls around, you'll have a whole arsenal of really great videos that you can share every day of that week. So again, if you are in the Maximum Layer Guild, I'm so excited that you have the opportunity to tune in live every Wednesday from 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern until around 2 o'clock. So tune in for 30 minutes of just advice and chatting about different ways to maximize your storytelling in and outside of the office. Again, this is Anneke Godlewski with Maximum Storytelling, and we will see you next week.